Are you trying to dominate your fantasy football league? Do you want so many championship rings it's impossible to sign autographs? Well, crack open a beer, pour yourself a glass of bourbon, and settle in, because you've come to the right place. Welcome to Hammercast.
My name's John Camacho, and this is Camacho's Corner, the very first episode of Camacho's Corner on the Hammercast Network. Guys, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you're feeling generous, head on over to Between the Pylons, which is my personal channel. Subscribe to that as well if you're interested in draft profiles, a lot of draft content, a lot of NFL content, stuff like that. I put them out every single week. A lot of fun stuff here. And on the first episode of Camacho's Corner, I want to talk about two of my favorite things: the NFL draft and gambling. And we're going to bring them together. We're going to talk about some prop bets on the NFL draft, right? And I know the draft is way far away and a lot of other things have to happen. There's going to be rumors. There's going to be things spreading. I think now is really the time to go check out some of these odds and try and go put out bets before these rumors start flying, before the smoke screens and all of that start to happen. And we can just pay attention to the facts, all right? Or at least the facts as I see them, because you're at Camacho's Corner. That's what's going to be here. So the first one, we got to talk about who is going to be the number 2 overall pick. You could bet on the number 1 pick, but it's going to be Trevor Lawrence, and you're not going to get great odds. I don't see any really reason to bet on that. Listen, if the bet's out there and you have a lot of money that you don't need right now, go put it all on Trevor Lawrence. You're not going to get a great return, but call it interest and move on, because Trevor Lawrence will be that number 1 pick. Now, who will be the number 2 pick? That is up for debate. And this is the way I see it. I think there's really no way it's not a quarterback, first of all. So let's break this down. The Jets are picking at number 2. And yes, they have Sam Darnold. Yes, there is a small chance that they want to keep Sam Darnold. I don't think that's going to be the case. I really don't. I think they're going to take a quarterback, and I'm going to tell you who I think they're going to take in a second. But even if they don't take a quarterback, they'll trade out of that pick. There's enough teams that would be willing to trade up. There's a bunch of rumors about the Dolphins trading out of number 3 to a team that might want to trade up. The Jets would trade out and take as many assets as they could, because they need them, if they were sold on Sam Darnold and decided not to go quarterback in this class. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. That's what teams do when they have some of these premium picks where quarterbacks always go. Quarterback is going number 2. The question is, who will that quarterback be? To me, it's really one answer. To me, it's Zach Wilson. In my opinion, and listen, we're at Camacho's Corner, so we're just going to base it off my opinion here for a second. Zach Wilson is going to be the number 2 pick, and here's why. He is the clear-cut second best quarterback in this class. In my opinion, he would be in contention to be the best quarterback in most classes. He is that good. There are some injury issues. I get it. Some people are going to say something about his size. The second that Baker Mayfield went number 1 overall in his class, I think that took away any question of size in the NFL. I mean, we've seen it happen enough. Zach Wilson has everything. People have compared him to Patrick Mahomes. It's not that good. Like, his arm is really, really, really good, and he has that big arm that teams want and teams covet. He has the second biggest arm in the class, easily. I mean, guaranteed. I think it might rival Lawrence even, as far as just pure arm strength, arm power, arm talent. But overall, Zach Wilson is the better prospect of anybody else. Nobody picking at number 2 is taking Trey Lance, because Trey Lance is a huge project. Justin Fields is a big name, and a lot of people, I think, were thinking he was going to be the number 2 guy. Listen, he's good. He's really good. He will be a first-round pick probably. But he is not really close to Zach Wilson at this point. And guys, if you're interested in like a more detailed deep dive on Zach Wilson, I'm going to leave a link in this description where I go through every single major quarterback on my podcast, and I can break that down in a little bit more detail. But to me, where this is gambling, I'm going to kind of keep it short here. I want to just say, go bet on Zach Wilson. It's a slight favorite right now. Minus 130. He is the favorite. The odds maker knows, but they're giving Justin Fields, Penei Sewell, Trey Lance that question. They're giving him odds as well. I do not think they are going to be the number 2 pick. I would bet on Zach Wilson. I'm telling you to do the same, all right? So that's the first one. My next draft prop bet for you is, to me, even more of a sure thing than the Zach Wilson prop bet. And that is who will be taken first at the wide wide receiver position between Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith. And if you ask me, it is not close, all right? And by the way, I'm going to put a link to a Dynasty debate where we broke down Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith, and I gave a lot of my opinions there. I will also put a link to my Jamar Chase draft profile that I did on my channel and my Devontae Smith draft profile. You can check all of that out to get a more clear understanding of the difference between these guys. I implore you to check that out. It's really good stuff. But just real quick right now, Jamar Chase is going to be probably a top 5, top 10 pick, easily, in my opinion, going to be the first wide receiver taken overall. And he really has only one question mark, and that's what did he do during 2020, because he wasn't playing on the field, and that's going to be the question mark. For me, not really a question mark to me. Yeah, there's a chance he was sitting around eating Oreos. I don't think that's the case. I think he was probably working out and doing all the things that he's supposed to do. I think at this point in the process, we would know if that was a legitimate concern. There's nothing out there that says anything other than he's been working hard. And to be honest, he probably took one look at the LSU team and said, yeah, my draft stock can only go down at this point. Why would I play on this team that didn't look very good? All right. So it makes total sense why he would make that decision. I have no doubt that that's not going to be an issue come draft night. And then with Devontae Smith, there's a lot of good things to like about him. And again, go check out those other videos to hear me say everything about Devontae Smith. But the biggest question mark is going to be his frame. Yeah, I think there's going to be some serious concerns about his size that could take him out of contention for even being the second or third wide receiver on the board. Because while this class isn't as good as last year's class, it's still a really good wide receiver class. There's really only one dude who's had a similar body type of Devontae Smith and made it in the NFL ever since the BMI chart and things have been in existence anyway. And that's Deshaun Jackson. And he was awesome. He's a great player. But is Devontae Smith a Deshaun Jackson? That's what every team is going to have to ask themselves. Hopefully he can be that. But there are some serious question marks about him, and that is what's going to almost guarantee that Jamar Chase is drafted ahead of Devontae Smith. And with Jamar Chase at minus 150, now is the time to go bet on that, because these odds are not going to last forever. I wholeheartedly believe that as this process moves forward, we're going to start to hear rumors. We're going to start to hear from people that are in the know that there are question marks about these guys and that Jamar Chase is the clear number one and all of these things. You see it happen every single year. You see it in December through February. Mock drafts and other things like that are not really indicative of the way the draft is actually going to play out. Nothing changes. But guys that are in the know in the NFL start talking to reporters and things like that, and we start to hear little things that give us a clue as to what to expect in the draft. At this point, we just don't have all the information. I think this is going to be one of those things where as the process starts to play out, these odds, Jamar Chase at minus 150, that'll be bumped up to minus 300, minus 400, because it will start to look like a near certainty, which I believe it is. But all right, guys, those are the two bets that I would implore you to bet. Those are the two bets that I absolutely love, that I will be putting money on because I think they're a damn near lock. I'm going to give you one more that I do think is interesting, and it's something I just want to mention really quick, but it's not something that I'm going to say, hey, go bet on this, because I'm not as confident about it, okay? And this has to do with draft position of Najee Harris. Over or under 32.5, right? Basically, will Najee Harris be a first-round pick or a second-round pick? I am taking the over. I am taking Najee Harris to go in the second round. The devaluation of running backs is the first thing, right? No running back in this class especially is going to go ahead of like 20 to 25, is right around the range where maybe a team feels like they have everything else. They just need an elite running back, and maybe Najee Harris gets drafted. To me, it's still Etienne who is the clear number one over Najee Harris. I know other people would disagree with me. I'm not going to get into that right now, but if you're interested, I will leave a link below of another draft debates where we talked about Najee Harris versus Travis Etienne, and it was a really good conversation with Kevin again. I would implore you to check that out, where we did actually disagree, and he took Najee Harris. He might actually disagree with this take. That's totally okay. I would definitely still take the over. I do believe that with the devaluation of running backs in general, I don't think a running back goes in the first round this year. Maybe one does. I don't think it will happen, but it is possible. And with Najee Harris in my grades, really where I think he becomes a serious consideration is for the Falcons at 36, their first pick in the second round. That is where I would think Najee Harris has a really, really good chance of going. Anything before that, maybe it happens. I don't think it would. I wanted to throw that out there. The over is not the value play, right? The over is at minus 150 and the under is at plus 110. So the odds would agree with me, but those odds are the exact same as the Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith odds. If you're okay with the odds, go bet on Jamar Chase, because that's still happening, all right? I don't need to go backwards. Let's move forwards. Guys, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching the first ever Camacho's Corner. And if they let me back next week, I will be back with another Camacho's Corner for the Hammercast Network. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. Hammercast has a ton of content coming out every single week. Check out the website if you're interested in some great articles from some really, really talented writers. And if you are also interested in some more of my stuff, you can head on over to Between the Pylons and check out the rest of the NFL draft and NFL content that I put out every single week. Guys, thank you so much for watching.
Did you get all that? If not, make sure you head over to hammercast.com, subscribe, and join the Hammer Nation. Until next time, keep grinding.